Karl Anthony Towns? Huh! More like Karl Anthony Clowns. So, I want to talk a little bit about what transpired the other night. I think it was last night or 2 nights ago when the Philadelphia 76ers played the Minnesota Timberwolves. And as we know, that there was a fight that broke out between Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns. Now, Karl Anthony Towns is the softest player in the National Basketball Association. People can talk about LeBron James. People can talk about, which isn't really true, the entire NBA. People can throw James Harden out there. The entire NBA nowadays is soft in general, but there are a few players that are just unbelievably soft, and Karl Anthony Towns is at the top of the list. Now, in their last few matchups, three previous meetings, 2 games last year, 1 meeting being this year, 1 meeting being the other night, Karl Anthony Towns averages 15.7 points per game, 10 rebounds, and 31% from the floor. He has been dominated. He has been bullied by Joel Embiid. And we know Joel had that interview with the lady from ESPN where he said, hey, I'm done trash talking for this year. Well, let me tell you guys something right now. Joel was capping from the start. If you guys saw that interview, he was laughing his ass off. So to the people that thought Joel was just going to be this quiet, mature dude all of a sudden, you're wrong. The dude, that is part of who he is. He talks shit, he runs his mouth, and sometimes he gets into the other player's head. And Karl Anthony Towns is a dude that he owns on the court and off the court. He is in his mind 24/7. Cat is afraid of him. Now, people can talk about the fight. Oh, well, Karl Anthony Towns was going to beat his ass and blah, blah, blah. The whole reason why the fight even broke out was because Joel was driving him fucking crazy. His team was getting obliterated. His team was losing by 20 points. And their arms were tangled up at the end of a play. Joel came on the double team, poked the ball out. So, he'd be getting dominated the whole time. And Joel pushes him. And then it breaks out. I mean, players push each other all the time. It's part of the game of basketball. If you get pushed, it's nothing serious. You don't gotta freak out like a little bitch, which is what Karl Anthony Towns did. And then the fight broke out, and then Ben Simmons comes out of nowhere, and Ben Simmons puts him on the ground and puts him in a damn chokehold.
Is he gonna tap out? Will he tap out? Yeah, he's tapping.
So to take it a step further, the two then take it to social media. Of course, we knew Joel was going to have a post after the game, but also Karl Anthony Towns had a post, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the initial post of Joel, he added Jimmy Butler, of all people. And we all know the story of Jimmy Butler. When Jimmy Butler was traded to Philadelphia, he pretty much blew up on the coaching staff, cussed everybody out. In practice, he took a team of third stringers and they kicked the starters' asses. And he was quoted as saying, "You fucking need me on this team." Yep. So we all know how long Karl Anthony Towns has been one of the softest players in the game. Jimmy wanted to get out of there. And then he's continuing to prove it. He's continuously showing that he's mentally soft. And Joel, just by speaking words, can make Karl Anthony Towns completely unravel. And it's very entertaining to watch. So then Karl, his post was, he posted the picture of Joel when he was crying in the tunnel. Well, First of all, Karl Anthony Towns has been to the playoffs once in his career. He has never, ever, ever won a playoff series. He went to the playoffs once, played against the Houston Rockets, and I think they lost in 5 or something. If they didn't get swept, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Rockets won in 5. So they got their asses kicked. Joel is 1 bounce away from going to the conference finals, and he's in a tunnel crying after that heartbreaking loss. But Karl, he wants to run his fucking mouth about that. And then Joel, he pretty much put him in his place. He pretty much said everything I'm saying. Karl Anthony Towns has been a bitch his whole life. His whole life. He's been soft. He's had everything. He's been catered to. He's being catered to by the Minnesota Timberwolves organization. Now, Karl Anthony Towns has the potential that he could be the best center in the NBA. He has that kind of skill. But because he's soft, he will never reach that potential. So all these GMs that have been saying, well, if I had to start a team, I'd pick Karl Anthony Towns. They've lost their shit. They've lost their shit because it's not always about the player that's on the court. It's about the intangibles, which Karl Anthony Towns does not have. And it's about, and one of those intangibles, tongue twister, is the ability to be mentally tough. And Karl Anthony Towns lacks mental toughness, period. Once again, that's why Joel can snap his fingers and Karl will become completely unraveled. He owns him physically and mentally. So, 2-game suspension. Ben Simmons did not get suspended even though he had him in a chokehold. Shout out to Ben Simmons, though, for really stepping up and having his teammates' backs. That's what you like to see. A lot of people have questioned Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid's off-court relationship. But I think this just goes to show you Ben has Joe's back no matter what. And I think Joe would do the same for Ben Simmons if he was in that situation. But anyway, 2-game suspension. Big whoop. Big whoop. The way I see it is, this team's good enough to win without Embiid. They don't need Joel to play all 82 games. That's why you sign Al Horford, because when you have a situation like this, Al can slide to the 5, and of course Tobias Harris can slide to the 4, and then you can move guys around. I don't know what they're gonna do with. I don't know what their the last game that Joel missed. They started. I believe they started Thibault at the 2, and Richardson played the 3 or whatever it was. But Brett Brown is a good coach, and he knows how to get creative with this lineup. So anyway, so what? He gets the way I see it is the league is doing us a favor. Of course, Joel got fined a large amount of money, over $380,000 or something like that. But the way I see it, they're doing us a favor. You know, you got 2 matchups against Rudy Gobert and who's the other fucker? Jokic, who's been pretty much garbage this year. And a lot of idiots out there said Jokic was a better center than Embiid. Because Embiid missed a bunch of games last year, so he didn't make first team. The guy got dominated by Jahlil Okafor. Sixers fans, do you guys remember Jahlil Okafor? He was an injury-prone bust with the Sixers. He didn't last here too long. Let's just leave it at that. And then he scored 26 or some shit on him. Even Rashawn Holmes, another former Sixer, he pretty much dominated Jokic as well when the Nuggets played the Kings this year. But that's besides the damn point. Resting Embiid, he gets the 2 games off. That's the way I see it. You got the Blazers and I forget the other fucking team they were playing. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Karl Anthony Towns, he's soft, mentally weak. Joel Embiid owns him on the court. He owns him off the court. Cat is mentally weak, and because of this, he will never, ever, 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 ever reach his full potential as a basketball player. That's all I have to say, guys. This is your host from the Most Philly Gym. See you guys later.